Hey everyone, for my project I wanted to create a tool that can be used to track the success of the urban forest and identify areas that need some improvement. So to do this, we'll take a look at tree canopy and street trees in Ward 1 of Washington, D.C. So the first thing you'll see when you open up the web app is the overview page, and this just basically gives a written description of the project and what all the tools and widgets are going to do. So feel free to read this on your own. I'm going to describe all of them, so we can skip this for now. So the first thing we'll do is take a look at the legend to see what layers we've got. So the first thing is the urban forestry needs, the point and the zone layer. These are the two editable layers that I'll talk about a little later when I go over the editing tool. So the next thing we've got is the Ward 1 boundary, which just is used to make it very clear where the data is. Ideally, this would be done for an entire city, but for the purposes of this project and to speed up rendering speeds, I just decided to narrow down the project to Ward 1. So the next thing we've got is street trees, which is any tree, shrub that is along the public right-of-way, usually along a sidewalk or a road or something like that. So right now they're symbolized by their condition, which is a value that is assigned to them by the arborist that created this data set. So we've got excellent, good, fair, poor, and dead. The next thing we've got is just a simple roads layer that shows where parking lots and different roads are for reference. And the last thing we have is the tree canopy by census block layer. So this is a layer that was created using a combination of LiDAR and surveying that shows the percentage of the surface of each block in this neighborhood that is covered by tree canopy. So that's anything like leaves, branches, any other part of the tree that creates pretty much shade when viewed from above. Okay, so let's get into the widgets. So the first widget we have is the filter widget, and this widget can just be used to narrow down the data to more specific points. So for example, we can turn on the dead widget and see where all of the dead trees are. And you can click on each tree and you've got your unique ID, and you've got the scientific name, common name, diameter at breast height in inches. And then it also has the condition and the date that it was last updated. So I've also created some filters for the date as well, because that can be important for field teams to know to know where to concentrate their efforts. So for example, if we turn on the filter that shows trees that haven't been updated since 2010, we can see that these are the trees that need some updating. If we click on them, a lot of them are going to say that the condition it was updated, or the date that their condition was updated was 1969, which obviously wasn't correct because this data didn't exist then. That's just the default date for when the point was created. So no one's actually ever been back to update this point, which is good that this filter exists to show that it needs to be updated. So the next widget that we have is the edit widget that I was talking about before. So we've got two layers here. We've got the point layer, which can be used to say, for example, if there's a tree missing on the corner right here, we can drop a point, say missing tree. We'll say it's a red maple, which is Acer rubrum. Then you can update a picture here as evidence that the tree is there. And then we're good to go. And then we also have the zone layer, which can be used to kind of highlight where field efforts are going to take place. So for example, if we're going to send a field team out to update all of the points in this block, or in these couple blocks, we can draw a box around here. And we'll say field work taking place 5/5/2021. So this can be used as a tool to kind of track and plan field efforts. Obviously, when you're actually out there, you'd probably want to use something like Collector to actually collect the points. But this is a good way to track the data. We've got the analysis tool. So we have two different analysis capabilities. The first one being find trees with specific conditions. So this can be used kind of like as a super advanced filter widget, because we can search for trees that have multiple conditions. So we'll set it to street trees. And let's say, for example, we want to find a tree that is good and also has a diameter of breast height that is at least, let's say, 30 inches. And you can continue to add different conditions here. So we'll call this trees good 30 dBH. And for the purposes of this presentation and to conserve credits, I have already run this. So we'll go ahead and add the layer, good trees 30. And we'll turn off the street trees just to make it easier to see. So all these orange points are the points that meet those conditions. So to double check, we can go in and click a point and see, yep, the diameter is greater than 30, it's 41, and the condition is good. So the next analysis capability we have is average tree health per block. So this can be used to, let's turn the street trees layer back on. This tool can be used to summarize data and the street trees per block. So we'll say that the tree canopy layer is the polygon, and we're going to summarize street trees. So it's automatically going to give us a count of points. So it'll tell us how many trees fall within that block. And let's summarize, let's say we'll get the average diameter at breast height, and we'll get the average condition value. So to do this, I went ahead and in ArcGIS Pro and added a field that correlates to the condition. So dead trees are 1 all the way up to excellent being 5. This way we can do some math on it. We're not going to group it. And again, I went ahead and ran this. So to save time, let's go back and turn this layer on. So now we have our average tree health per block layer. So when we click on it, we've got some data that kind of simplifies it and gives us a good idea of how that block is doing in terms of condition. So we've got 65 trees here in this block, and the mean condition is 4.1. So that's a little bit better than good. So kind of between good and excellent, which is great. And the average diameter at breast height is about 6 inches. So most of the trees are smaller in this area. So this is kind of a good metric because, as you probably saw in the video before, it talks about how the larger the tree, the more benefits it has. So the more shade it'll provide, the more pollutants it can absorb. And then it also gives us the acreage and the tree canopy percent, which is 13.82. So you can see here a lot of the trees are in good condition, but since they're pretty small, the tree canopy is not too extensive. So the next thing we have up on this side is just a simple infographic that, let's turn this layer off so we can see our trees. An infographic that kind of shows a pie chart of the conditions that are currently on the map. And a fun thing to do is to try out some of the filters with this because they work together very well. So let's turn on the trees that were last updated before 2010, and you can see the pie chart changes. So more of them are now in good condition and less are in excellent condition. Again, these haven't been updated since 2010, so it's probably going to be a good idea to go back and check that the good trees are still good and that nothing has happened to them. Obviously, if you turn on one of the condition filters, it's going to be 100% that condition. And the last thing that we have is just our simple base map gallery. The road labels are provided from the imagery hybrid base map. So if you find the road labels kind of annoying and that they get in the way, you can come down and select one of these that doesn't have labels, such as topographic, and it makes it a little easier to see the important data. To summarize, this web app serves as a tool to track the tree health as it relates to the urban forest in DC. It can also serve as a foundation to start connecting field data to the impact it has on the people that live within these blocks and are affected by it every day. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions. Otherwise, enjoy exploring the app using the link below.